On case 8, let's talk about utilizing case profiles to globally update forecasts. This is particularly helpful when adjusting upside forecasts. Let's just run through this. I will say that this is something great for type curves, especially if you're in one field. You can kind of set them all up at once and then make additional edits afterwards, but you've got a great starting point. We use this a lot when building new cases in databases. And it's definitely something we do right before we do a accrual schedule as well. So let's run through it. It's super simple. You set up one case in PHD, set it up just the way you want in ARPS, and then you hit, I'm ahead of myself, then you hit the case profile button and you hit add, give it a name, anything you want. I usually use a job number or something specific to the field or reservoir that I'm working in. But you save it, and then in the global editor, let's go apply these to all these other cases that I want. So I have a handful of undeveloped cases here, both proved and probable. And I need to go in first and null the projection. I want to, PHD will not override anything you have in the ARPS window. So you have to null the projection if you want to apply a case profile. If you null it, it leaves the start date where it is, but it gets rid of everything else underneath the start date. So now that I've done that, I want to go into the case profile, apply the case profile, definitions plus projections, and then just click the one that I want. So now I've applied it to all 10 of those cases. And I can scroll through here and I can see that all these now have the same type curve on them. And I can go through and I can make adjustments based on lateral lengths or areas in the field or anything like that. If I want a higher initial rate here or a higher decline on certain wells, anything I want, but at least they're all currently at the same starting point. That makes it really easy for me to make any changes. And from here, I can even use the projection edit to adjust EQIs, anything like that. So for case 9, let's look at using the sort feature to review start dates. And then the global editor to shift the start dates for upside cases. In this one, if I was using another database, I would usually make a Gantt chart. That way I could see it all in one place. But PHD is really great because I can put this in the case list in the sort feature. So right now, my project property is set for an effective date of January 1st, 2021. And I'm scrolling through here and notice that some of those projections start before my effective date. So in my sort, I'm just going to add major start date, and I'm going to put it right under reserve category so I can kind of see them in order of time. And there's quite a few cases in here that start before 2021, but they're not producing yet, so I need to make some adjustments. So here's my 10 cases that I'm looking at. We're going to look at these undeveloped cases at the moment. And I'm going to projections archives, and I'm going to shift the start date. Some of these start in 2019, so I'm going to shift this 2 full years. That's 24 months I'm going to put in there. And then if I look back at my case list, my sort now shows me that the first well starts in July of 2021. And now I can have all my investments accounted for. I can have all my production starting at the correct time, and I can make any changes that I need based on the field that we're in and what operators are doing or what my client has planned for. But at least I have a starting point that's after my effective date. For case 10, I want to talk about upside cases missing Capex and producing cases that still have Capex applied. And this is on the producing side, it's more than just checking errors, but it's also cleaning up databases and making them easier to read. In this sense, I want to be able to quickly go through a PDP and show that I'm not including any investments that shouldn't be there, that may be old. I'm making sure that all upside cases include Capex. This can be kind of difficult because there are those sample investment costs that come up as placeholders in PHD sometimes. But let's go through here and let's look at PDP first. I want to clean it up. I want to get rid of any investment costs that are outdated, already used, anything like that. So I've got some drill and complete costs because I had some new wells in here, and I'm just going to go through here and get rid of them. That way, if anything happens with this case, I know that I'm good and there's no erroneous investment costs in here. So if you see, there's a lot of those sample abandonment cases. We're going to ignore those. So let's sort this, and let's get only the ones we really want to look at. So I'm just going to sort this by initial date. Those happen to be all the ones with values on them. And I'm just going to delete them. If I take them out of this, when I re-import, they will be gone from the database. And then all I'm left with are those sample abandonment cases. So as I scroll through here, you see that there's no investment cost left. And then we're just going to take it back out, check it real quick. They're all sample abandonment cases, because this database doesn't include any P&A liability. So let's do the same thing, but let's do it for all the undeveloped cases. Notice as we scrolled through, there was one or two that doesn't have any investment costs in it. So we have a few missing Capex. So I'm just going to copy a line over. So let's just copy this first one. And we already have those sample abandonment cases in there. So we're just going to overwrite those. But we're going to get rid of that auto key. If I get rid of the auto key, or if I don't have an auto key when I'm adding cases, that's the key for PHD that says, hey, this is new. I need to add this in. So now as I scroll through here, now I have drill and complete costs for everything. Now we did this really fast, and this is just an example, but you also want to make sure that all your dates are correct or linked to the correct, production segment that you need those to. So this concludes our presentation, and I want to thank you for joining us. And I thoroughly enjoyed putting this presentation together. I want to touch base a little bit more about Kellie Gillespie and Associates. We did celebrate our 60th anniversary this year. And in true pandemic fashion, we had outdoor happy hours. That way we could all be around each other and celebrate and be able to hang out and talk about, the great things that we've had in the last 60 years in a safe environment. We are currently active in all major basins in the lower 48, including the Gulf of Mexico and even other areas worldwide. I threw in a list of a handful of clients we have done work for over the years. Our reserve reports are listed and approved by all major banks, even key regional banks, and most financial groups. Again, this is just a short list. If you want to see more, they're available on our website. And speaking of websites, I added this last page here with my contact information. If anybody has any questions, I would love to talk about either PhD or helping you with a reserve report or any kind of project that you have in mind. I want to thank PhD again for having us and for letting us have this platform to talk to you and hopefully help you get your database up and ready for year end or for whatever project that you need it for. Feel free to contact me with any questions or any other engineers in our office. Or if you're a little old school, feel free to stop by. We're in downtown Houston and downtown Fort Worth. And then our office in Austin is out on the west side. Any of us are willing to shake your hand and would love to meet face to face. I still have several clients I've never actually met before, but it's always fun to run into them at any kind of events here and there. I will say that we are currently sponsoring the SPE Gulf Coast section networking specials or socials, each month. And so at least the Houston group is out there ready to talk to you and mingle and grab a beer with you or a glass of wine. We also occasionally host a happy hours across the state. If you want on a list, if you're not on a list for any of those invites, we would love to add you to that list and meet and talk and just converse. We are always learning and always new information. we would love to help you with any projects that you may have. Now I'm going to open it to questions to the floor and move on to a general Q&A.